Hello and welcome to another video. In this tutorial series, I want to guide you through the ABCs of wildlife photography, so that by the end of the series, if you're new to the subject, you'll have a solid foundation of knowledge about wildlife photography. First and foremost, let's talk about the topic of scouting and monitoring. Since this is a somewhat extensive topic, I'll divide it into two episodes. In this episode, we'll delve into the topic of trail cameras. What types are there? How do they differ? And when should you choose one type over another in a different situation? How can you best set them up to get a good picture of the animal populations in the area where you want to photograph? Let's start with the different types. Firstly, there's the budget-friendly option. Actually, I have several ones of these here, around about 10, which explains that I'm indeed a big advocate of them. The great advantage of these units is that they're inexpensive. To monitor a large area, such as in my Lynx project, you'll need many of these units. What's important here is not so much the quality of the videos, but rather that they function reliably for a long time, recording date, time, and capturing the animal clearly. A small side tip for me: some photographers only use the photo function of trail camera so they can save storage space. However, I would prefer using the video function because it provides information about the animal's movements, the speed, and the behavior in general. Most animals are creatures of habit. With certain practices they often repeat. For example, an owl often sits on the same place, and a fox walks over the same tree trunk, etc. etc. The videos help to analyze the behavior of the animals better, which helps in the preparation for photography. But back to this type here. Because you can afford many of these budget options, you can track in many places. Such a trail camera costs about €50. Often there are bundles where you can save another €5 to €10 per camera. But that's enough about this guy here. Moving on to the wireless trail cameras. Unfortunately, I actually have those two here from two of my projects, because normally I have them 24/7 in use. As the name suggests, these are equipped with a SIM card and can send you images and, in some cases, video in real time to your phone. This can be practical for security reasons. For example, if you have a camera trap in the forest and want to be alerted if someone tries to steal or damage it. Furthermore, it can be interesting for rare animals. I've set mine up for both reasons. On the one hand, I have the security backup, but more importantly, if the lynx passes through and the situation is right, I can go there and try to find and photograph the lynx with the camera. However, the big drawback of these units is that they are generally relatively expensive. Good wireless cameras typically range between €200 to €300. If you want to monitor a whole forest like with the budget ones, you'd have to invest a considerable amount of money. Additionally, sending the images isn't free. Depending on the brand, you can expect to pay 1 to 5 cents per image. Not a lot, but the more cameras in the forest sending images regularly, the more it can add up. Now onto the third type of trail cameras, which doesn't quite fit into the scouting monitoring, but I still like to mention it for the completeness. And that's trail cameras with white light. All other trail cameras work with infrared, which is not visible to humans and most animals. This makes it very useful for invisible observation, but the videos don't look particularly nice. These white light trail cameras either have a flash or, like these ones I have here, an LED, suitable for color recordings. Honestly, these are less suitable for scouting itself, especially the ones with LEDs, as I have here, as they can influence the animals and their behaviors depending on the species, which can distort your research. If you want to get beautiful video recordings, these trail cameras can be very useful. They are still not cheap though, costing between 200 to 300 euros, and that's why I only have one, because I mainly use trail cameras for scouting, and for scouting this one is just not right. One more tip from me: if you're considering buying such a trail camera, move the light away from the actual axis where you should attach it. This prevents the animal's eyes from shining oddly, as they do with the infrared trail cameras. This isn't always possible with all trail cameras, but with this model I have here from Camtraptions, for example, it is. And I have actually built such a small bracket here, so I can place it like off-center and get nice videos. So let's summarize. What do I use each type for, and what can I recommend to you? For pure scouting, quantity definitely trumps quality. It's better to buy 8 to 9 inexpensive units with fast trigger times, long battery life, and good date and time recording, and check them every 2 to 3 months instead of buying 2 or 3 of these expensive wireless trail cameras. You can partially use wireless trail cameras to monitor specific areas, so you can be on site if you want to photograph something special. You can use wildlife trail cameras if you want color recordings. Just be aware that your scouting results may be biased. So let's move on to another important point. For that, we switch out into the forest so I can show you where and how you can set up trail cameras to get the best overview of your region you want to monitor. So basically for the outdoor part is quite some things important, but it's not that much actually. Just make sure you take your trail cam out on wild park, like proper ways where the animals always go, and it doesn't matter which animal in this case. Just set your trail cam up there and you'll definitely see which animals come by there. It doesn't matter if they're foxes, roe deer, red deer, badgers, the lynx, doesn't matter. All the walking mammals will come by at ways at some point, and then you know which animal is around. Another thing is, what I also tend to do is, like for more scouting, I tend to put the trail cameras up a bit higher so I get a better overview from the wild paths. And the other thing is, if you at the same time want to get maybe a bit more detailed shots of, for example, with my lynxes from the spots so I can identify them, you can put it a bit lower so you can get like the spots and marks and scars or everything. You can put them a bit lower and that should do the trick. And actually that's all of it. If you're outside and set the trail cameras up, the best thing is like the wild paths. That's all about it. It's not a big deal. Also take a look at like big tree trunks where some animals could walk across, but mainly those tree trunks are next to a trail, so you can get a good overview with just using the trails. So let's switch back into the studio. So that's it for this little tutorial. Please feel free to write in the comments what you liked. I would greatly appreciate constructive feedback. Leave me a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. In the next tutorial, we'll take a look at what else you can pay attention to while tracking. Geological features, footprints, and so on. Until then, I wish you lots of fun with your photo projects. See you in the next episode.